there'll be some who'll probably watch the live stream of their on YouTube. Are you at the office, Lata?
Yeah, I'm at my office, Cochin office actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for accepting our invite and joining.
No, she's happy to.
Shall we start now?
Yes, Purnima.
Good evening, everyone. We are here for yet another episode of our Industry Connect series. Today we have someone special with us who will be telling us all about how to build your career. So she is the center head of IBS Trivandrum and vice president and head of delivery, consulting, and digital transformation. It's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Lata Nair. Welcome to the session, ma'am. Then to give an introduction about the session and the speaker, I welcome Ms. Meena Nair, Vice President and Head of Operations, Learning and Development with SkillActz. Welcome, ma'am. And finally, I welcome all others who are present here today. So let's make this an interactive session. Over to you, ma'am. Meena.
Thank you, Purnima, and good evening to everybody here, and a very, very special and warm welcome to Lata Nair, who has Purnima has just introduced you. She is the Vice President and Head of Delivery at IBS Software. She is also the head of the center in Trivandrum. So a very eminent and very known personality in around the IT circles of Kerala. Uh, I also know her personally from another program that we have been doing, in which she has always been an very, very, what do you call, vocal about inclusion and diversity, and that has been a very. She does it also very gently and very softly, but a very, very strong voice that is there behind people, especially women, coming to the forefront and doing their task well. So Lata has been. She's from a product of CET. She has 25 years of experience in IBS, which is not very common nowadays. You hear of people jumping every 2 and 3 years. So here is somebody who's been with the company for 25 years. And she, as she herself said, she's a hardcore database technologist who went into management, who's now a management leader, and who leads a team of 1,000+ people and delivers transformational programs for to global customers all across the world that IBS is working with. So welcome, a very, very warm welcome to you, Lata. Very, very happy, and indeed it's a privilege to have you on our this Industry Connect event. Over.
Thank you very much, Meena. Thank you very much, and thank you, Purnima, for doing all coordination, and Meena, thank you for including me. The fact that I'm not able to meet all of them in person, but every time a college level interaction or a student level interaction happens, uh, few of us go back to our college days, and we get a lot of memories and reminiscence. So thank you. So shall we start off? Okay, great. So I think that's a very interesting topic which Meena wanted me to discuss today, building your career. Okay, so bailing out in the beginning itself, while I'm giving many thoughts, theories and tips to you, finally I'm driving a very important point. As in life, career also, it is we who are responsible for it. Okay, with that thought, we begin. I have few slides. Let me explain some of the thoughts through the slides, and towards the end, you can note down any of the questions you have. I would much appreciate you ask any question that comes to your mind, be it a simple question, difficult question, or anything. If I'm not able to answer it today, I'll certainly come back to you through Meena. Yeah. Okay, let me share. Meena, please confirm when the screen is visible.
Yeah, will do.
My slides are visible.
Yes, clear.
Okay, great. Fine. So we start off with building your career. I just added a little leadership right there at the top because what I thought is while leadership is a journey and leadership is something which few of us choose to be in any career, you cannot build your career without leadership. And mind you, when I say leadership, don't just think that you're leading a team of people. There is also an interesting aspect of leading yourself. Hmm? Okay, so now to begin with, I introduce you to John Maxwell's theory or levels of leadership. Okay, so look at the left side pyramid that you're seeing, which is showing 5 levels of leadership. Okay, this means leadership falls in different categories because straight away we think that people follow you. Okay, for a leader, people follow you. Why people follow you? Due to different reasons. When you're at your beginning level of leadership, that means you're appointed into a position of leadership, so people follow you because they have to. They just look at, you're a diplomat, you're a politician, you're in an educational institution, you're a corporate leader, but you're appointed, so people just follow you. It is your right that people follows you. Now, when you play that role, eventually you start building relationship with your peers, your teams, and then what happens? People want to accept you as a leader. So that means relationship allows the people permit you to be a leader, which is a still more interesting level of leadership than just the position. And then what happens? You keep contributing to the organization you are part of. Read organization as any organization. It is corporate educational institution, a governmental institution, anything. So what happens? You start contributing to the organization and everybody sees results. So people follow you because you are able to create results. Then comes another level of leadership where you're not just creating results, you're also creating leaders. People development is a focus to you. You're creating more leaders. That means you're bringing more benefits to the organization or unit you are part of. And then comes the ultimate level of leadership. You may be leading an organization or a unit, a big team or a small team, but you're respected for who you are and what you represent. That means you definitely have a brand of yourself, you have a point of view, you have earned that respect, you create results, and you are able to replicate leadership in more people. That means a legacy happens. Okay, with that thought, I'll also encourage you to look at the right side pyramid, which is like if I am joining as a, fresh person, how do I climb up different levels of leadership? I joined because I am a capable individual. I know the subject I have learned. I know the programming, or I know the business analysis, or I can test, or I can teach. So I walk in as a capable individual, and then comes I start contributing to the project. That means I understand what a project means, and I not only do my part, but I work with different teams to complete the project. That means I'm a contributing team member. Then comes I can lead a team of people and can create results. Then comes I become an effective leader where multiple projects, programs, I understand the vision. That means a unit I can drive, I may run multiple programs. Then comes the executive level. So when where even though there is no direct relation to these two levels of leadership, these are two dimensions of leadership. Leadership itself, you can play it in different levels. An individual joining can grow into leadership. I'm pretty sure, all of you are thinking, why are we discussing leadership when we are here to discuss building our career, core topic? So, people who are interested in this, I would encourage read John Maxwell's leadership theories. He's a great orator. He's an author, and his leadership theories are very interesting. Do not wait for you to reach leadership level, because what I'm going to discuss, self leadership, also you will get a lot of inputs from his theories. Now, self leadership. This is a very very interesting topic. While the word says it's very simple. Oh, I know myself. It is very easy. I know where I stand. But whereas this is the most difficult part in our career, self leadership is about constantly developing the mindset and action. Mindset and action translates to, one is an internal game, one is an external game. Internal game, as in it's within you. Okay, mindset, there is intention, there is self awareness, there is self confidence, and self efficacy. All of it may sound same, but let's try to understand the difference. Intention, I understand the purpose of doing something. If I'm studying a subject, if I'm writing an exam, if I'm playing the role as a programmer, if I'm playing the role as a teacher, I understand what is the purpose of it. That is very very important. Self awareness, I know my strengths, I know my weakness. In fact, knowing strengths are more easy. Understanding your weakness and accepting is more difficult. It, as you build your career, or as you go through your professional journey, you will understand that understanding these two aspects is very, very key. Self confidence is when you understand your weakness and strength, playing on your strength, showing confidence that when a job is given to you, you can deliver it well. You will give your utmost, your best performance. That is confidence. It's not enough that we are confident, but it is also important that we demonstrate confidence. And self efficacy, which is more of a belief. By the way, when we take any journey, be it personal or professional, things are volatile, things can change, things can take a difficult route. But believing that what we are doing, or what I'm going to do, the path I'm walking, is very important. When things go wrong or things go difficult, accepting and advancing, very, very key. So, knowing who you are, what we are capable of doing, where are we going, this is an internal thing. That's the mindset part. And then this helps us define our actions, which brings in influence and impact. The ability to influence comes through three different things: our communication, our emotions, and our behavior. So, know that when I say communication, do not understand that as just your language capability. Even if you are not a great orator, you can still communicate very, very effectively. So, relating these two, when I'm aware that I have certain weaknesses, I can manage or design my communication and emotions in such a way that it is playing to my strength. So, and particularly, I'm a person who's working in the travel, transportation, and logistics industry. As part of running business, we do have tough negotiations. So if I'm very aware that where am I going to get emotional, I will have to design the negotiation table in such a way that someone else takes over when it reaches a breaking point for me. So that is how you have to plan out things. So repeating once again, get your mindset in terms of intention, self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-efficacy. Uh, have a group of friends and mentors around you with whom you can discuss this openly. This will help you structure your thoughts very very well, and then act on it. Okay, self leadership is a personal mastery, and it is about developing ourselves, because the path can be about survival and thriving. It can be volatile, it can be uncertain, it can be complex, and it can be dynamic. While there is a little negative things in all this, there is a bright positive aspect also. Volatile means change happens, change also means opportunities. Yes, we can read sometimes many of the things as obstacles also, but read it as opportunities is how I would say. Okay, so once you learn to do self leadership, you will start expecting more from yourself than you expect of others. I'm sure you would have heard in many cases the art of delegation also. While delegation happens from a leader, it will be effective delegation, not diluting accountability of oneself, but using your team and your people to positively contribute to your program. Moving on, overcoming the tendency to underestimate the effort for leading a team is very common. When we join as team members, it feels like leadership comes easy. 10 different people report into you. It's quite easy. But when you start understanding yourself and leading yourself means, like whatever we learned, controlling your mindset, taking actions towards a positive step. You will know that if it's difficult to lead yourself, it will be difficult to lead other people also. Reflecting on oneself to one. That's a very, very interesting exercise that you go through understanding yourself. Consult with your conscience in decision making. Decisions can be right or wrong, but taking decisions is quite important. Only when we learn from mistakes, we learn for sure. So do not hesitate in making decisions, but consult with your conscience. Willing to be critical and be able to receive feedback. Feedbacks are not easy to receive, but if three different people are telling you the same feedback, then even if you don't want to accept, to your conscience, you have to debate and understand that there is something there for you to improve. Look for opportunities to improve productivity, focus, and perception. Quite important, because quite often they are, like I mentioned earlier, opportunities disguise themselves as obstacles. They don't dress up well, they look difficult, they look dark. But taking it up and breaking it into tasks or manageable chunks of work and get going with that is when you see a bright light ahead of you. Assess how actions of today can influence results of tomorrow. So actions happen today, results happen tomorrow. So do not wait for some results to happen to take actions. See challenges as an opportunity to grow. Quite important. Some of these sayings I have included here because they ring a bell with me through my journey. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdoms. All of you are quite young. You may see or read these as philosophies, but I think when you start, thinking about it, acting on it, it's quite interesting. Like I say, mastering others is strength. Yes, mastering oneself is true power. And the moment you know that how your behavior can be controlled, you will understand that you experience that power within you. So knowing who you are, knowing what you do, knowing what you need to learn, and then using what you know will create very very tangible results. So leadership should come from within. So we talked about leadership pyramid, as well as the importance of self leadership. With that, we just go through the flow that it's quite important to understand the purpose, taking calculated risk, focus on quality, no matter what the job is given to you, doing it with quality and doing it with fullness, and it is your best. See, your best may not be someone else's best. When you produce a result or create a deliverable, your manager is bound to give you feedback. but at the same time, for your conscience to know that you have put in the best part is what quality here means. Quality means also continuous improvement. Listen, listen, and listen. I think talk is comes naturally, or people do that, but listening and acting on it also matters. Maintaining absolute transparency, this also means holding a sincere and trustworthy platform. Focus on making present perfect. Yes, our vision should be to the future, our goal should be to the future, but your focus on action should be to make the present perfect. Serve yourself is also a very interesting term. Generally we say, right, and sitting across a dinner table, help yourself. It's the same thing. We talked about delegation earlier, but it's also important that we serve ourselves. We do our part and then also support our team. Yes, always be positive and share motivation. Not easy, better said than done, but it is possible. And then you will see a lot of outcomes in terms of effectiveness, innovation, knowledge, competence, self esteem, decision making, efficiency, productivity. All of these terms will come as part and parcel to this. Yes, the crux of the topic, building your career. Practice core values. It is quite important that when you join an organization, you will see that the organization has a culture of itself, has a vision, has a mission, there is a purpose and a set of core values which makes the business it belongs to perform. And then from this creates the organization culture. I introduce you to few of the values, core values, which is common across any type of industry which you may choose to join. Like commitment. Commitment also means sincerity, a steadfast sense of purpose that we need to know where we are heading to. Passion, most of our great achievements, this is the road. When you put your heart into what you are going to build or what you are going to develop, that creates a different results. I'm sure many of you hear celebrity interviews. I have heard Kamala Hassan speaking about his profession and passion being the same thing. So he said that he doesn't care about work life balance because whatever he's doing, he's living it. It's a passion. Integrity, very important. It defines who you are, whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life. Your integrity means who you are. So aligning your actions to your principles, it creates relationships of trust. Precision, in a highly competitive world, delivering something with quality is important, so precision is of extreme importance. Last but not the least, respect for individual. Respect for individual also means, somebody can be a CEO or a chairman, or he can be, uh, or she can be an office boy or girl in your office. Treating everybody with respect, giving seat for everyone matters. You can differentiate people with their performance, that is okay, but respect belongs to everybody. When you give respect, it returns to you in multifolds. Apparently this is the core value of my organization, IBS Software, but I've seen this across the different organizations. Okay, know what meaningful means to you. Meaningful means differently to different people, so understanding yourself helps you understand what brings meaning to you. That helps you choose the position you want to. It's quite important that in your career you should have a mentor, but don't it no do not run around to find a mentor. It just clicks you. When you interact with people, when you hear people, it comes naturally. Yes, corporate organizations have a formal mentoring program, but you need to connect with that mentor, where the meaningful means, there is a synergy, there is a wavelength. Be open to work beyond primary responsibilities. Your job description cannot encapsulate everything. We cannot go by book. When you are open to work beyond your primary responsibilities, you will go a long way to understand the project you are part of, to understand the program, and also contribute to the vision. Volunteer to do initiatives, because learning comes from all different sources. Always give your best. Like I said, your best need not be someone else's best, but your conscience should know that is your best. Read and build knowledge. Follow best people in your field. Listen to them. It's quite interesting, to listen to successful people's failure story. You'll be quite motivated to see how people have stood up to failures and difficult situations. Intellectual intelligence or intellectual quotient everybody discusses, but emotional intelligence extremely important. Where to control your emotion, what to talk, what not to talk, what to write, what not to write. That all comes from experience, but that is quite important. Invest in personal and professional development. It's quite important that we keep ourselves healthy mentally and physically. We should also invest in our personal hobbies, because happiness comes from when you invest time in your passion. And then you should also focus on your professional development. Do not shy away from helping yourself. When you need help, ask for help, and you should give time for yourself. Being proactive, being accountable, being action oriented. These are all quite interesting journeys. Developing a healthy risk attitude. You can't be safe and take opportunities. Now, certain things look impossible, but that's when you do take up those things. Yes, I'm not saying blindly, we have to jump from a cliff without a parachute always. No, but have a healthy risk attitude. Embrace the whole ethos of personal responsibility and the freedom it brings. Yes, taking responsibility for our career is very, very important, because you are going to make it happen for yourself. Yes, key skills. Be an active learner. Throughout the journey, keep learning. I think you have heard this from many people, from people who have mastered in their respective art forms, or a lot of achievers. But this is what creates interest. And being an active listener, as the picture shows, that's Arjuna and Drona from Mahabharata. uh, Focusing, determination, dedication, that should come. I think whatever you learn, learn it with dedication. As they say, some things may look as rocket science, but break it down into small things and try to learn. Everybody can learn everything, is my sincere belief. Communicate effectively. I don't have to introduce the person in the picture who revolutionized the smartphone industry, Steve Jobs, who, if you have not heard him talk actively or in a detailed manner, please watch him speak. The way he conducts himself, very simple words, very effective communication. He uses the stage, keeps eye contact, put simple words, and don't muddle around with too many topics. One topic at a time, once explained, moves to another topic. These are ways of effective communication. It's not just about literature and language. Being very inquisitive. Again, I don't have to introduce the person in the picture who said that I have no particular talent, but I'm merely inquisitive, and he ended up inventing what not for us. So being inquisitive, asking questions, be it, in your mind, it may feel that it's a silly question. And sometimes when we ask those silly questions, somebody can make a cynic about it, but it's fine. I think we need to learn to be asking questions and finding answers, working as a team. That picture there, a picture of uh, penguins. This is from a story called, or from a management book called The Iceberg is Melting. A set of penguins who were residing in a iceberg where it was melting, and how they find their new abode in a new iceberg. They work as a team, and when they work as a team, they find a lot of challenges. A set of people resisting, somebody acting like a leader but not working, somebody really working. All this combination happens, but how few people turn around a set of penguins to finally take to a safe destination. I think people who are interested, you can read the book The Iceberg is Melting. It's quite interesting. It's a small book, but working as a team matters. Power of networking. Again, power of networking doesn't relate to the number of LinkedIn connections you have. It also doesn't mean how many people will say hi when you say hi. No, it means relationships of trust, relationships of active communication, relationships of constructive criticism that you need to have uh, among your employee teams when you're building your career, or with your managers, or with your peers. It's quite important. Or even peers outside your organization. That power of networking matters because that helps you reflect on yourself much better. Moving on, three key things which is quite important: technical skills, which all of you are quite familiar with, that is a specific type of ability and practical knowledge to perform a position which you will be taking up. Every job will have its specific skill needs. Most of us focus only on the technical skills, but now comes the domain. You use the technical skills to actually deliver a solution to a problem statement. That is domain. And you need to know, when you're laying down bricks, are you building a temple or a cathedral? It matters. Actually, understanding the need behind the need and what is explicit and what is implicit quite matters. I'll tell you one simple example. In my team, we had a customer situation where there was a serious escalation on a screen that was delivered, a UI that was delivered. We work with airlines, and this was a scenario where the screen was being projected in the cockpit of the pilot. So the escalation was merely related to the font that was used in the text box label. So the developer here was thinking, what was the big deal about escalating this? But in reality, what happened was, this screen was there in the cockpit on one side of the aircraft, and the pilot would turn back and look at it and read a data. But now what happens when our customers understood that we have not even understood where the screen is going to be used? It can create a frustration, right? You have not even understood. So a font size of 8 or 15 or 25, it depends on who is using it, from where is it using. So look at this difference. A correction is very simple, 5 minutes job, but the impact it creates, the dissatisfaction it creates, can be very different. So understanding the need behind the need is quite important. Now, last but not the least, behavioral skills. Time management, self improvement, emotional intelligence, self confidence, managing your work life balance, lots of professional behaviors. These three dimensions, when I joined my organization, this was taught to me. I think it's quite important that all of us practice and not just think that one technology skill or domain knowledge will alone take me up in my career. Okay. Now, before we conclude, I will quickly share some thoughts, and then we'll move on to some question answer session. Okay, now this is quite an interesting graph. On the y-axis, you have performance low to high. On the x-axis, you have trust low to high. Look at this question mark quadrant. Somebody is high performing but low trust. Would you want somebody like that as your peer or a team member, or as even a friend? No, no matter how competent we are, if people are not able to trust us, it raises a question mark. Whereas if you are average in performance, but if you're still high in your trust, there'll be a lot of people who would want to work with you. Of course, it's obvious if you're high on your performance and high on your trust, you are there. And that picture, the herd of lions that you see, lion hunting strategy. That's a very interesting theory. Again, people who are interested, you should read it. The leader that you see in the picture is not really the leader when it comes to hunting. But and what makes a lioness a better hunter than a lion is not just skill. It is how you use that skill, how you execute that skill. But in a herd of lion, when they use hunting strategy and get their food, all of them have shared values and shared goals. No single person would take their eyes off from the goal and the values, and they come together and perform the strategy. I would like you to read the strategy, and some point when if Meena feels like we can have a discussion, I would be happy to. Talent versus attitude. I get inspired by these thoughts. I think absolutely we have to be talented, we have to be knowing a lot of things, but once you reach the ground, It is your attitude and your hard work that will make you stand out. And there will be n number of people who comes with talent, but how you make people feel, how you interact with the team, how you keep a positive attitude, how you overcome challenges, that will make you a different person and take you to goals. Again, people who are actively following cricket, I don't have to explain who this is. Giftedness versus deliberate practice. We often say that, oh, somebody is so intelligent, somebody is, they're so gifted, it comes naturally to them. Yes, some people are gifted, but can you also achieve it? The answer is yes. Marwan Attapattu, Sri Lankan Test cricketer who started his journey in career with lot of failures. He debuted at the age of 20, a very prime age actually, zero in both innings when he started. See, for a 20-year-old, it is more than enough to demotivate such a person and to say, I quit. But he didn't. He went back to the nets, practiced. 21 months later, again, not so good performance. 17 months later, again, not so good performance. He ended up having 5 ducks and a single. In a series of innings, he was scoring very, very low, but he kept on practicing to the extent that he was scoring well in local cricket matches, and the leaders got attention. They saw that he's performing. 7 years later, rest is history. He played 90 tests, so many ODIs, international tests, went on to become the captain of a national team of Sri Lanka. He's also a coach. What do we learn? If something doesn't come naturally to you or is not finding in the gifted category, if you are passionate about acquiring it, do deliberate practice until you achieve it. Do continuously and consistently. Now, a journey, whether it's career or a destination you're going to see, don't just focus on the destination. Yes, you cannot take eyes off the destination because you want to reach there. But the success, when you define it, it's not just the destination, but also the journey, the ups and downs of the journey, which will take you there. You have to be enjoying every bit of this journey for you to experience that success. Yes, I think this again is a very important message that I would like to convey. Education, when you define education as what you learn in your curriculum, your knowledge, your experience, that is a passport to our future. Because yes, tomorrow belongs to people who prepare for it today. So prepare hard and well. And this is something which I will want to convey to each one of you. Do not focus on what you will print on your business card, the designations, the titles. No, you should be your brand and you will become your business card. And always remind yourself, when we say that, when we have a tendency to lean on to say our parents didn't do this, our teachers didn't do this for ourselves, or our managers are not doing this for ourselves, know that what stands between you and your goal is mostly yourself. It is not anyone else, it is yourself. So can circumstances be different, difficult, and change for different people? The answer is yes. But believe that we can make a difference. So do not stand between you and your goal. Practice self leadership, become your business card, and achieve all that you want to achieve. Thank you.
Thanks, Lata. That was wonderful. Students, if you have questions, you can start asking your questions or put it in the chat. There's always a
Starting trouble is there.
starting trouble.
Yeah.
While our friends warm up, I have a question. So, when we start our career, usually we will have to very quickly deal with one important question. Are you going to be an individual contributor or a very technical kind of person, or do you want to lead people and get into management and leadership and things like that? So is that a choice really people have to make, or how do how should some how a youngster deal with it? Maybe some from your own
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, sure. Actually, everybody starts as an individual contributor. See, there will be few among us, like I'm sure among the students who are attending, somebody is a natural leader. Okay, there will be people who coming up and lead initiatives, even in college itself. If you ask me, I have never been. I was extremely shy and would never want to, and never realized also that that I can lead a team ever. But 3 to 5 years experience, you are allowed to be an individual contributor generally, and you can be. So going through the journey, you will soon realize. I think, see, this leadership is a very interesting part. You don't there is leadership even when you write a code. Can I manage my dependencies? Sometimes when you write a piece of code, you may have a dependency on another person. You will have to interact with your business analyst, you would have to interact with your designer, the software designer, and with another team also, if you're working in a different squad altogether. So some people maneuver through all this and find out and deliver well, because there is inherent leadership in them. They may not realize at the beginning, but it is what we have to tell ourselves is, we have to do what comes naturally to us and what is our passion. I can still contribute equally importantly remaining an individual contributor. Individual contributor doesn't attribute to uh, a selfish nature. No, that means I contribute effectively to the program goals still, but I may not have a team reporting into me because I am not very keen at or not good at people leadership or people management also, because you have to like people to be a people leader, right? For some it doesn't come very easily. So my advice to all of them is, allow yourself to that journey for 4 to 5 years. You will start recognizing whether there is some leadership in you or not. Otherwise, practice your self leadership and take your individual contributor role to success, or be with a team. Both are equally important and good.
Thank you.
Rajeshwari, you had a question? I saw her, unmuting. That's why. Maybe no.
Not a question, maybe a thought which could lead to a question. Youngsters are also a little like IT is the big hiring space, right? But at the same time, right now it's going through some challenges. So students are sort of wondering as to how they should prepare now. If is IT the way to go? If it is an IT, everybody is talking about AI and they're talking about blockchain. Is that the way to go, or can I still study Java and still get a good career, make a good career? So is that something which you could say throw some light
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. See, technology, how it has evolved through the years is, the skill you have to acquire is how to do continuous learning, because technology keeps evolving. You know, 20 years back, how we learned Java, and now it has become very different, because learn to have a technology learning that is more logical and analytical actually. People who are doing so get your foundation wrong. If you're learning core Java, I would still advise, don't go after just Python and AI, ML and all. Learn core Java, because you can always build on top of it. That being an active and continuous learner is more important. And know that one you're learning, if you know core Java, it doesn't end there, because you have so many tools and technologies that are coming up every year. you know that is, you will keep learning. So get your foundation right on what is an object oriented programming, or how do you write programs, what does a class mean. Basic foundation should be thoroughly learned. And then tools is like, we are downloading app and learning, right? That is also learning. So tune yourself or design yourself for learning. That is what I would say. This is not philosophy, but and what I would encourage you is, no matter if you are entering into IT field, take interest in doing every aspect of software development initially. If somebody is asking you to write requirements, don't say that, oh, I'm a programmer, I'll not write requirements. Just write requirements, because you will develop yourself into a very self-reliant contributing team member. If you can, like, I work with Japan customers. Okay, they are people who do not need a manager to manage them. They don't wait for tasks to be given. They can analyze requirements, they can design, they write code, they test. And whatever I write, I test and make it perfect, is how they are, they set their goal as. So I think our educational systems are also little different from how Japan is working. We sometimes bucket ourselves to a role saying, I will only do this. But if all of you are getting a chance to experience that software development life cycle, go through it. Because see, finally you can settle down in one role, because but the learning you will have is an appreciation to the other role. For example, I had delivery today, but 10 years back, 3 years I worked on the sales side. So today, when a salesperson is impatient with me, while I may want to not want to appreciate it, but I am also able to understand why that person is. Because somebody who's facing the customer and taking a heat, the behavior will be very different than when I do, develop the software and give it. So always learning, you will be able to appreciate each other, and that contributes to teamwork. Yeah, I think somebody asked a question.
Yes.
A
There was
person
another
who's
person, Pooja, who had raised her hand, so maybe both the things can be done with her.
Okay, a person who has good leadership skills but less technical skills get hired. Okay, yeah. See, you don't have to think like that, Anupriya. The thing is, leadership matters when you know what you're building. Hmm? Leadership is not complete without understanding the crux of it. Let me give you an example. Uh, Look at the film director of a movie. That person may not be a best singer. That person will also not know how to compose music. That person will still know what is that best music which fits into a scene. Yeah. So when you say you don't have technical skills or less technical skills, it is okay provided you are still able to direct that program well. But for that, you need to listen to music. You need to sit with that music composer to understand how that composition happens. You yourself may not be able to do it. Yeah. So it is like that. Leadership is like that. You need to understand every aspect of the program you are leading. Still, you may not need to be an expert, but you should be able to find an expert and put that person in that role. That is what is essential. Maybe that person can be able to learn anything quickly even when they get proper training. Absolutely. you know Take training, discuss, learn, and seek mentorship. I truly believe technology is not the biggest of complex thing. Sit with an architect who will have, as a leader, I have learned from my team initiatives. I sit with people who are probably 15 years, 20 years less experienced than me. And but when you sit like that, you have to be the student, not the teacher. You should take away your leaders and manager cap out of your head, and allow that person to be your leader, and then learn from that person enough for you to take right decisions. So your team will stand by you when you do that. Okay. Pooja had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pooja, you can type also if you don't want to speak.
Pooja, I know you had a question. You had raised your hand a short while back. Anybody else? Any other questions? Another question has come up.
Yeah,
Somebody, okay, what kind of skills do we need?
yeah. I think I
And Tirupatai, yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sorry. He's also got a question.
yeah, sure. See, what kind of skills depends on what you want to become. Yeah, and I, somebody's crying. I don't know. Okay. So, okay. See, what kind of skills depends on what role you want to take up, what you want to become. Okay. If you want to become a programmer, learn technology skills. But like I said, when you're put in a project, understand what the domain skills are also. Domain is about, I work in travel transportation industry, so I'm very passionate about the domain. Even when I book through an IRCTC, I look at how the user experience, a portal is. Even Uber, when you book, how the customer experience platforms are, or a Swiggy when you order, the features they've given. Amazon as a retail thing. So when you're passionate about something, you will start looking at all this. So learn the domain also. You need to connect to what you're building, like we mentioned. Just keeping bricks doesn't mean anything. If you're building a cathedral, you need to know what you're building. That internet example story is there, right? Even the a cleaning person would know that NASA is sending rockets to the space. So that is quite important, and behavioral skills. So if the person who asks questions is on a specific role, please put that there, and I'll explain further. What are the leadership skills to be maintained at daily routine, like in our colleges, public, etc.? Yeah, I think that is taking charge of yourself. When you're responsible for a role, doing it in fullness. Not if you have dependencies on someone else doing something for you, managing those dependencies. Even escalation is a responsibility, escalation at the right time. If you don't do that, things fall out of place eventually. So escalation is also a responsibility. And if you have a team to manage, in colleges or public, getting your team to understand where you're heading to, and understanding their risk and resolution, equally important. If Aditya can tell me what is the daily role he's performing, I can be more specific, Aditya. Yeah. Okay, somebody had a question, right? They do. Yeah. Could you please ask?
Please put the question in the chat right now.
Yeah, for a fresher, we get job. Which skills are most important to get placed in
College. College.
college? And for a fresher, which jobs are good in future? Can I assume you are looking at a career in the educational institution as a teacher,
I
or
think it could be for IT job.
for a campus placement?
Yes, campus placement.
Okay. See, whichever stream you are learning right now, Tirupataya, that is the name. No, knowing that subject quite important. Okay. See, what you have not learned in your 4 years, you are practicing that or learning, it is okay. But what you have learned, the project which you have done, when I am looking for people, I interview people, I would definitely look at, have did you do your college project with understanding what it is? Did you apply what you learned in that college project? If you're doing civil engineering, or if you're doing electrical engineering, have you understood the crux of that? See, those things are not directly usable in a camp, in an IT scenario. But are you an individual? When given a ground, you learn things and then apply things. That attitude of yours will be very key in IT. But yes, if you have learned computer programming, etc., know those basics. I think if you are learning a language and which you are, know the basics, and do not be ashamed to ever say openly that you have not learned something, but because you have learned this, you have an attitude to learn further. Okay, it is not important that you know it all when you sit in front of an interviewer, but yes, have confidence, be pleasant, demonstrate that learning attitude. That is what matters. Yeah. As an individual, you can certainly advance within an IT industry. However, it's crucial to remain mindful of the behavior of your team members. Toxic team dynamics, navigating each situations can be challenging. How to manage this kind of situation? Yes, Anupriya, this is inevitable. Okay, this is inevitable not just in your professional life, but in your society, in your personal life, etc. You know, th- there are occasions when people may disagree with you. Hmm. I would want to take out the toxic part out of this, because sometimes it may, we may feel that it is toxic. The other person may not intend toxicity. That is where it is important that we approach things positively. That person who is being extremely negative comes out from an insecure situation where they feel they are losing something. So it is very important that, as if you're a leader, if you're a peer, then your behavior is very different. You can, how you bring your peers together is one way. As a leader, you have the responsibility. The onus is more on you to bring together your people and try to show this is the objective and try to understand, have open conversation, understand. But let me tell you, we can't be always be, everybody may not subscribe to what you are saying. If your paths are different, if there is clear situation of negativity as you are seeing, then in organizations there are people change. I think even your team member may not work with you for long. They would change roles, change teams, etc. As a leader, it's your responsibility that we include all of them, hear them out. Sometimes they behave wrong because they feel their opinion is not valued, their decisions are not important, their voice is not important. That, as a leader, you have to fix. But as a leader, the first responsibility is to face it, take the bull by the horn. Do not shy away from taking responsibilities. Active discussions, communication can solve almost everything, I tell you. Present day, so many programming languages. Some of them said learn Java, some of them learn Python. How can you select? Okay, see, you need to try out both and see where you're good at. Hmm? Learning Python today, being an expert there, doesn't prevent you from switching to another technology. The in thing today is, even if you're an iOS programmer or a Android programmer, there are chances. Like I said, if try out both Java and Python, whichever is clicking with you, learn that thoroughly. Little deeply, because any one thing which you learn deeply will allow you to set the foundation. That is what I would say. Python, a lot of people are learning, the market is competitive, but if you're good at it, definitely you will have opportunities. How do you motivate your team, ma'am? Well, being ourselves is one very important thing. And as a leader, it's quite important that when appreciations or credit comes, step away and let your team come to the limelight. In crisis, in bad times, protect. Just step forward and let the light be only on you, and you look responsible. Yet you don't have to do anything more to motivate your team. Just, the army just stands behind you, and uh, it's like this. As a leader, you can't stand on the banks of the river and tell your team row the boat. Left side, right side, this way, that's it. Sit in the boat and feel the pressure. That is when the other one is a consultant. They may be paid, like they'll come, they'll give suggestions, but as a leader, you will sit in the boat and take the pressure. Ma'am, which plays the key role for fresher interviews, college percentage or student skills? Okay. See, college percentages, all companies will keep cutoff marks. It is also about evaluating uh, how have you approached your studies? Have you been responsible? Have you understood? And I may have a very different view, but I have seen many leaders say that in engineering, it is very difficult not to get good marks. But okay, I said, like, I studied engineering and I know I worked hard to get marks. But what I would say is, you know, what you're meant by student skill is maybe your technical knowledge, your communication ability, many other things. Both matters, but just because you got a lesser percentage in college shouldn't prevent you from reaching anywhere in your career. But at the same time, you're all studying in colleges, try for good marks, that is important as well. But build on your knowledge, get some experience. See, many large companies make a set cut off 70 percentage, 68 percentage, 75. You can apply because that's the initial filtering. But what you do is, uh, you know if somebody has got lesser percentage, go and get experience in a smaller company. 2-3 years of time, if you have the right experience, you have the right attitude. See, lower percentage doesn't mean you're not going to be a hardworking person. Okay, that's how I interpret. Maybe some of the subjects were not to your liking, because of which you have not got good marks in those. But hard work, determination, there is no easy ticket up there. Hmm? That we have to do. We have to sweat out. But sweating out with passion, it's an easy journey. Yes. Student, and I finished my college studies. I have a lot of expectations in it, but a fear of completing stop me. What can I do? The fear is in completing the college program. Is that what it is? Um, See, okay, let me interpret that and answer. If you are do not worry about the expectations in IT field. I know we can work hard and achieve that, not a problem. But if fear is okay, if your fear is in performing a role in IT, I would say that just take that fear out of your mind. Okay, you have to do what you have to do in terms of, if whether it's a requirement analysis or a programming, learn it hard. See, I talked about the deliberate practice, right? For some, the logical analysis comes just like that. There are enough test books which you can practice. If you're writing a program, write it many times until you learn it. So do not shy away from doing that. Once you learn that, this should not prevent you. If I have not understood your question, Logeshwaran, please write it again. I'm sorry. What are the challenges that the startup companies face? Is it linked with leadership skills, ma'am, or management skill is important? Leadership skill is definitely important for startup people who are daring. I would use that word, daring to do a startup, are absolutely absolute leaders. If they're thinking that I want to do something on my own, that is absolute leadership. That thinking itself makes them a leader. So I know failing is also about planning it out. Yeah, a leader also has a responsibility that to run a company there are many things, right? Now, when to start ramping up? Is your business idea solid? Have you studied the market? Have you visualized who your customers are going to be? What are you going to take to the customer? Who are the teams you are going to be? Are you going to, some people get carried away by the initial stages and then ramp up heavily and increase cost in the company. So many reasons why startup may not be successful. But I think Aditya, somebody is wanting to start a company, solid leader, I would say. What do you value most in a work environment when it comes to career growth opportunities? Okay. Uh, yeah, I see. I value a lot of things in terms of the core values of the company or the company culture, which I hold very close to how we work. Your day-to-day aspects should be quite interesting. Your day-to-day should have an open communication. You should be able to express yourself well. You should have good customers. All that makes the environment important. But value is also for learning. Uh, companies have established career framework where, like I said earlier, respect for all, performance differentiated. If somebody is working hard, delivering, yes, they get. But see, what we have to tell ourselves is, one appraisal period I may perform very average because of many a matter, because I'm still learning something. One appraisal period, two appraisal doesn't determine my career future. You know, if you are just look at that cricketer we talked about, 6 years he was nothing. He ended up becoming a captain of a national cricket team. So nothing will stop you if you are willing to put your best effort. So coming back again to yourself, you define your destiny. It's very much in our control. Yeah.
So I think we sort of coming to the end of it because we've also overshot the time. Okay, there is just
Yeah.
one more question. One more
Freshers.
question. So
Can you some tips for freshers in an interview in a nutshell? See, know what you have learned in 4 years. Not every subject, end to end. No, the essence of what you have learned in your stream of engineering. Know your project well, what you have done. Know, if especially when you're looking at an IT field, naturally, whatever computer programming languages or computer related subjects you have learned, understand that rightly, and show your enthusiasm and learning skills through what is happening in the IT industry lately. And if a company is interviewing you, go and look at that company's website and understand what they're doing so that you can relate to what you can do, and then explain what your aspiration is. And if you're failing one or two interviews, don't be disheartened. Work hard. There is a job for all of us, and it will come to you. Yeah.
that is truly heartening. So thank you so much, Lata. I think Purnima will give you the proper vote of thanks, but we have conducted Industry Connects multiple times, I mean, quite a few of them. And this has been one of the times where we have had so many people staying on the call till the end and asking so many questions. So that itself is an indicator of how you have done the presentation and the kind of examples that you have given. So from myself, my side, thank you so much. It was truly illuminating and as usual, very quietly but very well, you're able to put your points across. Thanks so much.
Just a word from me. My best wishes to all of you. Prayers and wishes, and do well. And like I said, always remind yourself: one instance of setback or failure, nothing. It has nothing. It will not impact your career or life. So, be positive and work hard. You will be there. Yeah. Thank you very much, Meena and Purnima and Anand, for giving me the opportunity. I couldn't see any of them, but I can. I'm emotionally connected. Though I couldn't. Thank you, everyone.
Before I conclude, so I have put one Google a link in the chat box. So students, please fill in that Google form to get your certificate of participation. So please don't forget about that. Yeah, so we've come to the end of the session. So, ma'am, on behalf of SkillActz and everyone present here, uh, thank you so much for this wonderful session. And I must say, it was such a delight to listen to you speak and explain gently about this leadership, awareness, and all the other key skills that we need. And also, you answered all the questions that were raised in the chat box. So, everything in a very simple manner. So, thank you so much. And it was a very insightful session, and I'm sure it was very useful to everyone who's on their path to build their careers. So, thank you once again for this wonderful session. And also, I extend my gratitude towards Meena ma'am for making this event happen, and to Sangeeta and Anand sir for their technical support throughout the session. And to all the students also, they made it a very interactive session. Many questions were raised, and so yeah, thank you so much for that also. And if any of your friends were not able to join, please let them know that there will be a recording of this session available on SkillActz YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to fill in the Google form also. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.